starting to come out. They get all that dust up off the floor. There we go. So the next thing I want to do is start filling in these gaps with spray foam. So we're obviously, ooh, I cut the shit out of myself somewhere. We're obviously not doing the vinyl flooring today because I gotta let this spray foam do its thing overnight. Once it's dry, then I can level it off, and then we'll do vinyl flooring tomorrow, which we'll be able to finish all of it tomorrow actually. So. This wood is so fucking... If it wasn't so damn expensive, I would have used treated wood in here, but... Treated wood will cost almost $79 a sheet, where this only costs $20 a sheet, and it's going to be covered. Well, I'll see what I'm doing. This is why I decided to use spray foam, because I could, like, trying to do board foam cuts around all these weird turns and angles is just stupid. Don't tell me this thing, I just opened this thing. How the fuck is this empty?
Getting her done?
Yeah.
She back up?
The what? Yeah. Yeah, she is.
Yeah.
Not quite to the electrical stuff yet, but I should
Yeah,
be.
we tried to work that out.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Where do you want to put that solar panel on the top?
Yeah, so I'm gonna put it like more towards the back of the roof, like two 100-watt panels,
Yeah.
and then drop the wires down, and then put my battery bank back there with all of, basically create like a whole circuit board on the back left side of the van, and then have my inverter and all that stuff. And then also I got to get an inverter from the alternator. I run a cable to the back,
Oh.
so I can charge my batteries when I drive.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
yeah.
you're going right into it, huh?
Oh yeah.
Hey, kiddo. Huh?
Well, it looks like I'm out of spray foam.
I like good dogs.
I literally thought one can I was going to be able to fill in a few gaps there. For whatever reason, this can of spray foam only gave me enough to do. I mean, it's not mandatory that I do spray foam in between these cracks. I mostly got all these down there. A little bit left in here. Because there's foam underneath everything. I just was trying to fill in the gaps with the spray foam. But I got something else I could use actually. I got some sealant that I can run through these thin cracks. Now I could always come back later and go through it with the spray foam around the edges, even when I put it in the vinyl. I can go underneath over there. Wow, I can't believe only one can did. I feel like I got way more out of the spray foam when I did the sealants. Unless it just did like an absolute shit ton of it underneath, which is possible. That's weird. Alright, let me go get something else that I got. Finish these cracks.
Where's that? Pittsburgh?
So I gotta let all of this dry overnight. Yeah. I gotta poke it with something.
Okay, kiddo.
You'll see it.
Yep. I'll stop over and see what you want to do here. See what we do.
That was fucking weird. The last one I used didn't have some little fucking tab you had to break. Here it is. Perfect. This stuff's actually better anyways for these smaller gaps than the spray foam. Because I'm not trying to do spray foam to have foam in there. I'm trying to just fill the gaps in. And this seems to just drip right in between where I need it to go. So I can just sand this down tomorrow. Spray foam was more for like those bigger holes and spaces. Ah, shit. This is actually liquid nails, so this will help seal the pieces into each other. So it's very strong. I can't believe that whole can of spray foam was spent just with this little section over here. It's crazy. And the funny thing is, when I went to Home Depot to get the screws changed out the other day, I stopped in the insulation aisle and I looked at the cans of spray foam and I was like, I don't think I need any of these. I still got a can at the house and I should be good. And then I just didn't buy one. And they're only like $3. They're like $3 and some change per can. They're not that much money. I should have just grabbed 2 or 3 more of them. I just didn't think I was gonna need it. It's one of the downsides when you have to like worry about how much you're spending for each project, is that you don't buy enough instead of buying more than you need. How much did you guys miss? I had some notification. This is why I don't like going live, because I get weird notifications. Alright, there we go. Well, actually the liquid nails can be used for this because I'm actually trying to seal. I was going to use spray foam to do it because spray foam will do both, but I'd like to seal the 2 pieces together. And this liquid nail is, when I go over the cracks, it actually pours down in between the wood panels. So that is working the way I want it to work. This is actually why I bought this liquid nail, to be able to do stuff like this. Envisioned having to do this. But it's very fucking sticky. My whole entire fucking hand is fucked up now. It's covered in spray foam. It's covered in fucking liquid nail. Splinters from this shit. Alright, Rose. Oh, yeah. So put that in. So all this is gonna have to cure overnight, unfortunately. I cut a pretty big hole in the nozzle of this. Alright, so these bigger gaps right here, I am gonna have to use another can of spray foam but I can do it after I finish the vinyl, because I just will stick the straw under the wood and it'll fill it in that way. It's like the only other pieces I needed to use spray foam for was over here, but it's all good. We can get to it later. That looks good. That looks good. If there's any other. The only other time I'll need to use this is when I do the trim, which I gotta finish the vinyl first, and then I could do the trim in the back and the trim in the front, and then over the side doors. All of this is going to be covered by the bed frame, and then the cabinets are going to go from basically right here all the way down. So you're not even going to see anything behind here. It's going to be encased in cabinets. That's why I don't care how pretty it looks, or it doesn't look bad, but there's some spaces open still. The water tank's going to be covering all this back here under the bed. I'll give you guys like a close-up look real quick what they did here. So, as you can see, I did spray foam under this. That's probably where I use all my spray foam up at, over there. And once that dries overnight, it takes literally 24 hours and then it's dry, to where you can cut straight edges out of it. So I use the liquid nail in between here. That is going to seal that gap up real nice actually, and it's going to help strengthen the structure of the wood to this piece of material in the van, so kind of lock it into place. But I got to do spray foam in there and there and over here. Well, actually this is big enough to where I could just cut out another piece of insulation from the board I have left over, and I could just fit, you know, two pieces there and then use spray foam in between that gap. But as you can see, I got this last piece of subfloor all the way to the edge of where the front cab of the van is, where the mat starts, and right there is where I'm going to trim. I'm going to use aluminum trim and have that to where it kind of runs flush with the front. So all of this has got to dry overnight. That's kind of why I left the gap in between, just to give it a little bit extra strength. The plywood's not cracking. No, it's very sturdy. Like, it doesn't even move when I step on it. Well, it's probably because it's very level underneath, so it doesn't really need to be. Alright, so I gotta finish this over here. I gotta finish this wall up. That guy that stopped by earlier is the guy that's helping me run the electrical stuff in here. So this coming week, more than likely, I gotta buy another case of the vinyl. I figured, or not another case, I actually could buy it piece by piece. I figured I'm gonna need about 6 more pieces of vinyl to do all the floors and all the odd cuts I gotta make. But I think next week I'm gonna order my solar panels, which comes with like a kit. It comes with the wires, and then it also comes with the relay that you plug the solar into, which goes to the batteries. And I'm gonna go buy one battery from Walmart. They're $100 a piece, and test out the solar, make sure that it works. But we're gonna hook up all the electrical next week, which is gonna be a fun project, and we can start covering all these spaces up. Another thing I gotta buy next week is the cotton candy style insulation. It just comes in like a giant pack, like a wheel, and we're gonna fill in underneath all these side panels, the base wood. We're just gonna go in between and cover where all the electrical is. I figured it's the cheapest way to insulate the walls is probably that stuff. It's just so much space you gotta cover. But anyways, let me go get my stuff I need to finish this up. Drill. I gotta go get a new metal hole bit or whatever to create holes because I broke the one I was using. Good thing I got a bunch of these bits here. I have like a ton of them. Get that out of there. I really don't know how to get that out of there. Alright, that's cool. I'll just use my regular drill. Yeah, it's weird. I can't get the fucking. I can't figure out how to untwist that to get that bit out of this cutting saw. But since I'm curing everything to the walls, I mean to the floors and waiting for that to dry, I could also cure that marine sealant to the walls to get the base pieces in. There we go. Pretty sure. No, I ran into the same issue with the other one. Alright, give me a second. Cut those too short. That's why I didn't fit last time. So I'm gonna want this cut right here. Just double check. Yep. Second, I just gave myself another splinter. Bro, I'm getting a million fucking splinters today. off by like a half of an inch. About right there. I don't think this drill's gonna be strong enough. Nope. So the problem is, I don't know how the fuck to get this thing off of this. I don't know how you, like, typically you would just untwist, right? But it doesn't untwist, and I don't see any place inside where you can pop that out. The piece in here broke. Try pushing down and twisting. Nope. I'm gonna have to ask Nate how to get this out of here. I don't see any buttons. That's why I got this, because it's like 20 times stronger than this hand drill to go through metal. Let's see anything else. Yeah, so what I would like to do is maybe alright, so I'm just gonna skip that for now. But what I can do is I can tack this in the marine sealant like I was planning on doing. Right there's where I wanted it. I think, where can I? Alright. We go get my clamp bracket, hold that in place. This stuff actually works amazing. This Marine Fast Cure stuff is awesome. Nails out of here. Depending on how this does there, I might be able to also do this here as well. But first things first. Let's see what this will be. Perfect. So that will work. Be able to clamp that in once I get it in there. Alright, so what I want to do right now is using this stuff. I gotta poke a hole in this too. Motherfucker. Alright. Okay. Alrighty, cool. I gotta get a clamp for the bottom, same kind. Be right back. I thought I had more of those clamp things. I can't remember exactly where I got it from. That's the problem. So I can't remember. Checked all the drawers. I must have seen it laying on top of something and just grabbed it. But that's okay. I got this thing. This will work. I just gotta push the bottom in. The problem is, because I only had 2 of these fuckers, I can only do this one at a time because you have to be able to lock it in. Push it in nice and tight. Because this, I'll tell you what, this, fuck, I got this, my pants. This marine sealant stuff, it's meant for sailboats and boats. It's meant for water, which means for one, it's waterproof. 2, it's some of the strongest adhesive that you're gonna find on the market. And 3, this is what most van builders use for places that you can't screw into. This would be impossible to try and screw this wood into. So it's meant for this. And this is also kind of impossible because the way this entire, the way this entire thing fucking curves in, it's too big of a gap really to fit the screws through. And you only really have here and a very small area here to try and get it into. So that holds really well, then I might consider just doing this entire section over here just with the tack glue. And then of course on the ceiling, I don't know how. So for the ceiling, what I'm gonna have to do is, because I'm not gonna be able to use those clamps on the ceiling, show you guys what I have to do. So when I put my piece in up here, it's gonna go somewhere right here. I'm gonna have to get another long piece of wood to wedge in here from the ground to push it up into place. And I might consider chopping it into 3 separate little pieces to go across on the top and seal that in. Another cool thing that this marine sealant allows for is movement. So like I said, it's meant for a boat. A boat rocks back and forth. It's got some flexibility in with it. So when the van's driving down the road or, you know, over bumpy road and everything's shifting around, it allows for some shifts so the wood doesn't just snap off of the wall. So it's like some of the best fucking stuff to use. And I've seen a lot of different V-lifers build their vans out using it. So we'll see. We'll check that tomorrow when we take the clamps off and see if it's sealed. The only downside is I can only do it on the edges. I can't seal it in the middle because obviously it's sticking out from the wall a good 3 inches. But yeah, because I only have those clamps, I can only do one. I thought I had more of those ones on the top. Those were perfect. I could have sworn I seen more than one of those, and I just grabbed one because I just needed one at the moment. But I might consider buying like a pack of them at Home Depot. Those are kind of handy to have, especially if you're like out camping somewhere and you want to hang a tarp. You know, like say I want to hang like a tarp from the roof of my van out to have like a little front porch area. Those things would come in handy. So I'm doing one there, I'm doing one here. I don't know if you guys can see. Yeah, you can see. I'm doing one here. I'm doing one here-ish, maybe. Oh no, yeah, I'm sorry. I'm doing one here. But I'll have to level it first. I may not even need to, because this is already sticking out about the same as much as that wood sticking out. So I'll just have to measure, but definitely another piece here. Because you got to keep in mind, the bed is supposed to fit in here. So might end up having to cut this once that's sealed in. I don't know, we'll see. Another thing that I could do is I can get a big giant block of wood, right? Just go to Home Depot, get myself like a thick piece of wood that fits right behind this, and then I can tack it in to the van wall to this, to where it sticks out. So I could do that too, but we're trying this first, just to see. Because the bed will probably just go to about right here. I may not have to cut this for this wall, because like I said, I'm 5'8". I got, what was it, 6 feet and 4 inches from wall to wall. So I can let the bed go to here and have my paneling, and then just let the bed go all the way to that wall, and that will still give me about 6 feet across, you know, from wall to wall. Because I'm starting my wood paneling on the walls from here all the way down to the driver's seat, basically. This wall, I'd like to just do the whole wall wood paneling because I don't have much space to work with on this wall. So the bed would just stop here. We'll see. Alright. So let me see what else I could do here real quick. This fucking... Well, it's fine that the drill doesn't work anyways, because I think the tack marine sealant's going to work better anywho. The liquid nails are already starting to dry. Alright, so another thing we use this sealant for, I mean this marine stuff, is on this insulation under this piece of wood, because there was no place to drill into on this side but insulation. Push this down into it. There we go, look at that. Because that's kind of sticking up there. This piece of wood in this weird space right here, there is nothing to screw into to push it down. So you see how it like wants to come up just a little bit on this side. So what I could do is I could take this heavy ass tool and kind of leave it right there, keep it pushed down, and I just put the marine sealant underneath, which will lock this wood into the insulation down below. I tried screwing through the insulation, but obviously that's not going to work because insulation doesn't give you any support. But the marine sealant, however, can go to the surface of the insulation and lock that wood down. I was only able to screw that piece of wood down from the back base wood that I have laid. There's nothing to screw into over here. That's why I use spray foam to give it a surface to lay on, which will also, you know, once that's dry, of course that's going to lock that piece of wood in. But it doesn't matter as much right here because there's going to be heavy ass batteries. One battery here, here, at least 3 batteries, big batteries, so that's not going anywhere. It's gonna have that weight there, but you can see that insulation starting to fill in that gap real nice. But I will say, I've never built a camper van before, let alone floors or anything like that, and I'm kind of learning as I go. It sucks when I need to go shopping because I never know what the fuck I need to buy. And then I get out here and I'm starting to work on it, and then I realize, oh shit, I should have gotten this. Now I gotta wait till Thursday. But next week, I think it's gonna really start coming along once we get that solar in here. We get all the wiring in. I won't be able to order the inverter next week because that's pretty expensive. It's $200 or $300. Ugh. But I can get one battery, the solar kit, which comes with all the wiring I need, and then I can get some other wiring that I need to run from Home Depot, which is pretty cheap. I think I talked about this. I'm just going with industrial, commercial, outdoors quality extension cable, because everything that has to plug in, like the refrigerator, the air conditioning units, the exhaust fan, all of that stuff is coming with just a regular wall plug type thing. And I didn't want to splice the wire and do it that way, because I feel like I'm messing with the integrity of the product, and it'll just work a lot better into an industrial extension cable. And even though it's indoors here, it's not going to get wet. The reason I'm using like an outdoor quality extension cable is because, again, if there were to be moisture or anything, it wouldn't affect it. It's going to be under the walls and under the insulation. So for that kind of stuff, we're just going to not fuck with how the items I order come in the mail. And it'll make everything a lot easier to replace. If I need to replace it in the future, you just unplug it. It won't mess up your electrical system. And then those cables, those extension cables, can go right into the power inverter, which is going to be 3,000 watts. I was just going to do a power strip out of the inverter for whatever category of stuff I'm plugging in will go into that power strip. Trying to think. Yeah, so next week well, obviously I'm not going to have the solar panels. They won't come in until they come in, but I'm ordering them on Wednesday night when I get paid. But the battery I'm picking up on Thursday from Walmart. It's $100. And then I'm going to go to Home Depot and get whatever extra materials I needed for this week, like the spray foam. And then I'm getting those giant cotton candy foam ball things. And once we get the extension cables and all that put in, then we can start filling all these walls in with insulation. On this side, all this under these braces is going to be that thick cotton candy insulation all the way down. It comes like a roll, so we'll just cut it, fill it in. And then the following week we can do all the paneling. I think I just said this earlier. So I have a whole nother giant piece of plywood in the garage that I didn't end up using for the floor. It's 1/4 inch. It's not that thick. I'm thinking I'm gonna cut it to fit from here all the way to there, just like a piece of plywood that goes to about right here, and drill that into this, which will actually give this way more support. And I think I'm going to go with vinyl panels on it because it's lighter in weight. And it'll cost, I added up how much it's going to cost to do regular wood paneling on this wall with the stainer and all that stuff to make it look nice. It came out to about $580 just for one wall. If I go with the vinyl, like the vinyl flooring type material, it's only going to cost me about, I'll only need about one box because that's way less than 36 square feet. And that would be about $58. I already have the 1/4 inch plywood to put there. And it's, I don't have to buy stain or anything because the vinyl that I'd use is actually really good quality and looks really nice. It's different than the floor. There's another vinyl out there that looks like a nice sidewall color. So yeah, I that's what I'm thinking about doing, because otherwise I have a whole 1/4 inch thing of plywood that is going to go to waste. I don't think I can just return it. So that would, and then also the insulation that's behind it, it'll lock all that into place really nice. And don't forget, we're putting cabinets in over here. So having that giant piece of 1/4 inch plywood underneath the vinyl, I'll be able to secure the cabinets into wherever I want, basically, including where the posts are. But so I'm doing anchor screws into the posts with the cabinets, but I can do support screws into the 1/4 inch plywood on the wall. my gosh. So I got a lot done today though, I'll tell you what. I know the video I posted earlier made it look like it was only a 20-minute job, but I was out here for a little over 3 hours trying to get all these pieces in. And it took forever. There's got to be 100 screws, deck screws, that I put in all the way around. And we'll see how that cures tomorrow. This wood brace panel, we'll see how that cures. And hold on. So tomorrow we'll be putting all this in. We'll be staggering it. And I will do a live for this tomorrow, because this is only going to take me a couple hours probably, which is about the amount of time I have before my phone dies. Sucks I can't just charge my phone while I'm live. But if I want to use a gimbal, I can't plug my phone in. So you can see that spray foam is going to support the ass end of this subfloor really nice, because the base wood is about 2 inches inward from the back, and I wanted it to overhang. And then this section back here where it looks like shit, it's all stained and whatever, what I'm going to do is cut the insulation back down to where it's flush with the edge of this, and we're going to cut a custom piece of wood out to slide in back here. So there will kind of be a lip with a trim piece that I'm doing, but all of this is going to be filled in. So anywhere where you see like the flooring of the van, I'm going to be doing like a special vehicle carpet that I'm going to buy. I'm just going to get a roll of carpet and go with an X-Acto knife and cut in the carpet everywhere. So you're not going to be able to see pieces of the van floor anymore once that's in there. So like any weird corners that you could still see, you know, the wall or the floor, like up there by where the gas thing is, I'm just going to do carpet. How many cans of spray foam have we used now? A total of 4. I did a lot of spray foaming. We use spray foam on the insulation under the subfloor, and then I use a bunch of it. The spray foam actually fixed my ceiling rattle. That was one of the things causing a lot of sound, is the ceiling, for whatever reason, lost its grip with the old insulation that was in the metal rivets. So when you're driving, it would vibrate. So I went with fresh spray foam in between each rivet, and it actually locked the ceiling to it. Still gives it a little bit of movement, but it doesn't rattle anymore. But another thing too is I'm going to do some spray foam in like the edges after I put the cotton candy. I call it cotton candy foam because I don't know what else you fucking call it. It just looks like a giant bag of cotton candy, but it's insulation. So all that's going all the way down. Well, not here. This is going to be open, but it's going all the way down. So the only place not insulated is probably going to be this wall. I'm just going to do a thin piece of wood that's going to kind of cover this, and then the window's going right here. The reason, like I said, that I'm doing that for is so I could put my bed frame all the way to the wall and not lose 3.5 inches of space. And then the bed will go to about right here. So it is definitely coming along. I think the floors were going to be the most tedious part of this because of all the weird fucking angles I had to fill in today. But when I go to do the walls, that's very straightforward. An area rug. Well, I did consider like maybe a running, like a thin running rug that will go down the center of my walkway in between the cabinets and the desk to keep my office chair from rolling around. But we'll see. This vinyl flooring looks nice though. But I don't know if I'd want to cover this. Oh, that's a really bad angle. It's fucking bright as shit out here. But this stuff is really nice. It looks really nice. I like how it feels too. It's got like a nice soft feeling to it. So it'd be comfortable to walk on. Well, look how sturdy this is, man. Also, since I put the insulation on the floor in here, it's been like 50% more quiet when I drive down the road. And now because this is in here and all the gaps are sealed, I bet you it'll be even quieter when I drive. So if you think about that when I'm living in here, you don't really hear much of an echo anymore. Kind of dampens the sound. So that will make it a little bit tougher for people outside of my van to hear me moving around in the van and living. There's probably going to be some places that I am at that I don't want people to know I'm camping out in the van. But that's pretty much all that I'm going to be able to do today. I do apologize, guys. It's just the only other thing I can do today is put more of those up, but I only have 2 clamps. And that has to sit for 24 hours. I can't even drive the van anywhere. It's got to fucking stay still. So we'll do the next one we'll do tomorrow. I'll put it in first. So before I start doing the vinyl flooring, we'll put another one of those pieces of wood here, clamp it in. And then we'll do a live stream tomorrow of just finishing all this up, cutting the dry spray foam out, leveling it, maybe sanding some of this down, and then we can lay the vinyl flooring. Vinyl flooring is just peel and stick. You just have to stagger it correctly. And I did notice when I tested it out earlier, there's going to be a piece of vinyl over here that I'm going to have to cut straight down the middle because it's going to be too big to fit across. So I will have to cut some of it, but I think I could even use scissors, like some really big scissors on that vinyl to cut it. So it should be pretty easy. If not, I got a couple different types of knives I can use. I got an X-Acto knife, I got a box cutter, I got this thing, got this knife, which seems to work pretty good. Oh, also I vacuumed all this up today. This is starting to look a lot nicer. It's flooring up here. But look at the guy that owned this van last. Look at all of these random wires this guy just had fucking chilling out in here, all exposed. I figured out that these actually don't go to anything that's plugged in to the car battery. Thank God. But this dude had like a whole ass fucking fire hazard in here. And these look like they actually went to a regular wall plug, and you can see how he spliced them. That's what I don't want to do. Like, I don't want to do that. I have no idea what these all go to. This isn't even fucking plugged into anything. It's just grounded over there to the van frame. This positive wire, I have no idea what that goes to. So I gotta rip all that out too. There's just random fucking fire hazard wires everywhere. And then I gotta fix the cigarette lighter too, because it stopped fucking working on me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna go buy a new cigarette thing. I think this thing shot the fuck out with some new wires, and splice that all back together and then push it back in. Other than that, I have to use a battery pack when I charge my phone now when I drive. It's kind of why I want to get the solar in here with the extension cables ran, so when I'm driving I could just plug into the battery back here. Yeah, well, we're doing electrical next week. I didn't have enough money this week to buy all of that stuff. Don't forget, I ordered the exhaust fan on Wednesday. It's saying the latest it'll be here is on the 19th of this month. So when the exhaust fan comes in, Matt is going to meet up with me and we're going to put it in right here. It's going over the bed. Actually, I take that back. It's going to go right here. Not back there. That's where the solar's going. Right here. Exhaust fan will fit. It's about 14 inches square. Go right here in the center. It'll be kind of partially by the bed and then over the kitchen area. So when I cook, I can flip it on. But I got that ordered. We got to cut the ceiling out, put that in, run the electrical wiring, hopefully that direction. So that's a cool thing. We could run the wires in through here, and because I have all these cool holes, you know, I could take it out and I can throw it down this hole and then run it behind this paneling all the way down and out towards my power inverter. So I'll be able to hide the wires really nicely. The ceiling, once we get, you know, everything we're cutting out in, then I can start laying my insulation, my board insulation up, and I'll be using that marine sealant for that insulation as well. It's very light, so I have no issue sticking. But yeah, we can't do the ceilings until we get the appliances installed into the ceiling and the holes drilled for the wiring and all that crap. Still got a lot to do, but it is coming along. Like I said, I think over the next 2 or 3 weeks, you know, we'll have the bed frame started, almost finished actually by 3 weeks, starting into the cabinets, and that's when the inside of the van will start looking full of stuff, you know. I figured if I want like cabinets and drawers and stuff like that, I'll just build that in to the structure once I have it in the van, so I can see where everything's gonna be and go. Don't forget, I gotta leave a gap under the bed right here for Valentina. So I have it in my mind how I want it to look. It's just it's just a matter of not having any knowledge on how to do anything and figuring out how to put it all together. I gotta vape real quick. If you electrified the metal, you wouldn't need. Yeah, but wouldn't that it might be a fire hazard. Oh, this guy that had the van last practically fucking has so many weird wires everywhere. And I didn't discover these wires until we took out all that metal paneling and shelves that were in here. It was like under it. So I didn't even know. I have no idea what I'm gonna leave all the wiring in the back of the van, I think, because a lot of that does go to like the back brake lights and the turn signals and all that. So we're not gonna touch anything there. Everything in the back looks like it's plugged into wherever it needs to be plugged into. But what I do need to keep in mind is I can't really build. So when the bed frame's like in down the middle, from this view of the van that you guys are looking at, you're not going to be able to see that back wall where the back doors are. So I think going down, I'm just going to build like some kind of covering that goes over where you can see all that those wires going to like the brake lights and stuff. I got to leave all that open, so if I ever have to replace a brake light, I'm not having to unscrew and rip out my van to do that. So if you're not going to see it anyways because of the bed frame, then I don't think I really need to worry about covering that part of the van. I'll just leave it open. Do what virtually? Well, we're going to try not to splice too much. Like I said, after seeing how other van lifers were doing their wiring when I looked up videos, I started to realize more people were just using the extension cables. Because you gotta think, not everybody is an electrician, and you're doing it yourself, so there's always that factor of not knowing if you did something right or if it's gonna catch on fire later. at least if everything is just like hard wired in with an extension cable and a wall plug. The only things that I am gonna have to have run like electrical, which the electrician guy is going to help me with. His name's Gerald, really cool dude. He's going to do my GFS plugs, like in the sink, the plugs down by my bed. I also asked if he can put a electrical socket in behind my driver's seat, so if, you know, the front cigarette lighters fail on me again, I could plug my phone into there. So you all will see. But anyways, that about covers this live. I appreciate you all for being here. Not really much more I could do today until all this secures and dries out. So we'll have a game stream once I get all this cleaned up for the night, and I'll see you all on a live van build stream tomorrow. Peace.